Okay, so in this section we're going to take a look at looping. We're going to look at 3 different types of loops. So let me type this out so you can kind of see it. We're going to take a look at the for each, which looks like this. And then we're going to look at the for loop, which is just the word for. And then we're going to look at the while loop. Okay. Now we'll take a look first at the for each loop. Now, when we're working with collections, like arrays, lists, or dictionaries, the best way to do it is to cycle through the elements using a for each loop. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write a comment here. And this is for arrays, okay? So, there are other videos on the site, but if you're following on the 0 page of my website, we haven't talked about arrays yet. So this is how you create an array. And again, an array is just a collection of a specific type of data. So we write our data type string. We do an open and close bracket. And so I'm going to say string inventory. Okay? And equals a new string. And again, open, close curly braces, semicolon, and I'm just going to put 2 things in our inventory. I'm going to put a gun and a knife. Well, we'll do apple. So while he's running around shooting people, he has something to eat. So how do we cycle through this? Well, we write for each, open, close parentheses, and let's do 2 curly braces here. I'm going to say for each string item, and then what I do is I'm actually going to use a variable to cycle through it. So I'm going to say for each string item in inv, which is just short for inventory, it can be whatever you want, in inventory, we're going to do something. So I'm going to say, so what this does is this looks for any string item, and it's going to use this inventory, which is an open empty variable, to kind of search through it. So we're going to keep dumping in gun, then apple, and we want to do something with it. So what I'm going to say is if we find in the inv something that is the same as gun, we'll debug .log gun is in, well, we don't even have to write gun. We should just write is in located plus, and then we just write inv. Alright, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to jump back into Unity. I'm going to press play. Hopefully we don't get an error. See how it says located gun? So what's happening here? Well, we created an array, and that array is only holding 2 elements. This is at element 0, this is at 1. It's holding a gun and an apple. So we're going to look for each element inventory, in inventory. Like, again, this is a variable that we created that we're going to be storing the positions. So if we say if in inventory, so it's cycling through the entire inventory. So as it cycles through, we're going to do something, and all we're going to do is check if there is an item, a string item called gun, and if there is, we want to actually spit out debug.log located inventory. Okay, so let's take a look at doing this with a list. Okay, so and again, don't just copy and paste from our other tutorial. Get a little practice, just sort of writing all this out. So list, string. Okay, so that's a list data type, and we're going to make another one called inventory list, and we're going to again make it equal to new list. There we go, that's what I was looking for, type string. Now this we can kind of copy again, these two guys. The gun and the apple. And what we'll do is we'll just drop this here. And then what we'll do is next to gun, we'll do gun list and apple list. And then just for the sake of practice, let's just retype out, because this is the first time we're sort of seeing this. For each, open close parentheses, open close curly braces. Let's make sure our other, yeah, it's down there, okay. So again, we have to kind of give it a new variable because we're already using it here. So we're just going to say string inv list. So for each string element in inventory, hopefully it just pops up so we don't have to read, there we go. We're going to, and I'm going to copy this. So if I find something called, we'll do apple list this time just to kind of change it up. If we find something in our list inventory called apple list, we're going to say debug.log located. Let's make sure this is inventory list here. Alright, so before we play it, we made a list. It's called inventory list. It's currently holding a gun list and an apple list. So we're going to look in each element in this inventory list. If we find something with the apple list, we're going to print that out to the screen. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that one now. So it located gun, it located apple list. Alright, we've got one more left in this tutorial, and then we'll stop the video. I'll make it a little bit easier on us because dictionaries take a little bit of coding. I'm going to copy this entire list here. And instead of list, as you probably already guessed, we're going to type dictionary. And I'm going to do int string. I'm going to copy this whole thing, paste it right here. So we have a new dictionary with an integer and a string. And then inside of here, I'm going to encapsulate each one of these within a curly brace. And as you already probably guessed, 0, comma, and then 1, comma, and I'm going to name this gun, dict, and I'm going to call this dict here, because we can't have the same name. So let's take a look at this for each statement. This is sort of interesting here. We need to actually create another dictionary in order to search this. So we can say, we get rid of this string here, and we say inventory pair, and then we have to actually identify int and string in. So we're going to write inv pair again. Or actually, we can use, you know what, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just create another one in here. So string, and we'll do inv here. In, unless we already have a string. I'm thinking we can probably reuse like inv list here inside of here. Let's just copy this and see if that works. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to write over this. inv list in inv dict. So there we go. Let's paste this here. I think that's going to work. So what we're going to look for is we're going to look for something. If inventory list dot key, because remember we have a key and then we have a value, equals apple list debug.log located, or apple dict. Let's copy this. Apple dict. Okay. So if we have apple dictionary, inventory.list key is the same as apple dictionary. Okay, so we're going to cycle through each one. But actually we're looking for key value here, so we're looking for 1. So let's change this to 1. Okay. Then what we'll do is we'll copy this. We'll say located inventory list.key. So let's cycle through that one more time. We have a dictionary here that we created. It's holding two elements, key 0 and then the item at key 0, key 1 and the item at key 1. So for each, and then we have to put here an inventory pair. We have to come up with a name for that. It's holding two values. So this is the data type for inventory list actually. We're creating sort of another sub-dictionary inside of here. So for any dictionary item in inventory list, or inventory dictionary, if that key item is equal to 1, we spit that out. Alright, let's go ahead and jump back, press play. Looks like there's a problem. Two pairs. Oh, you know what we're looking for is value here. Alright, let's save that. So we have to actually use a predefined value, key value pair here. I'm going to save that off. Let's take a look. There we go. And let's press play. So you can see it found each element here. So go ahead and, if you need to, pause the video and go or cycle through it again. So, but this is a predefined dictionary method that we need to use. So for each key value pair in inventory list, then we cycle through, we find each element.